Poseidon, international waters, common sense the only air, unification of embers through the attractions of the system of systems, thinking your way out of it so it doesn't stink to create some magic. Then you can be a fun guy. Relationship, traditional news. The feeling of being new is just that, where we are all old and new. Then to be new is like the beehive, where how many old things are in the thing we call new, where the material never changes, but it's new each season. Then the beehive is old news, being the same beehive that has always been, then only having a feeling of new each season, where newness is a season. Then the traditional news never changes its material, but that's exactly what changes, is the material changes what it's about. Then we say the beehive has no tradition when we walk about its halls, but it is a thing of tradition, or has what it's about simply come across the feeling of news, and that's when it is news. Though we are all news all the time, only feeling so then when we feel something else thinks us as news. Then we feel the material. Then the material has always been the same that the news is on, while changing the material. Then the news is old news, while what it contains is news. Like new car smell, taking a bunch of things that are old and making them into something new. Then all new things are made of old things, and then old as new, where when do we come across such a thing? Only in the state that gives us the ability to call what's news of our own possession, where when it's not, we give the new car its smell by making it become breaking news to us. Coded experience caught of a relationship, the flute expansive items and their purposeful use, each of their game. Where creation lies the beginning and end of each world, where to take a world to its end is then to create within the means of that world, where then worlds are created at world's end, especially in the world of creating worlds, whose end is what a world takes, then traveling worlds. Where then what worlds know this? Then what world is of what creation? Destiny in the language of hope, where how much does destiny take of what isn't seemingly destiny to make some dust? Catching the butterfly to save it as the spider who feasts on the flight of its own prey. Quitting the play until you're ahead, not then being a child, then being old. Flight by sight. What about keeping things? Then calling things our own as if we knew what owned us. Where do we know of how many things owned? Each thing until the thing we owned. Then we own only what we can take. Then in taking it, we know we can own it without it taking itself away from us. Then what we take without knowing what owns what we take, we can own what we take. Then we can call what we own ours without knowing what it took to take it. Then taking everything that it took to be something to be owned without taking anything but what we took. Then making things to be taken beyond our taking by what we know. We can take then becoming things to be taken. tacky things taking the play back, to where then tacky things can move us forward. Though do things that travel through time know they do, then these Ethereum mines being then the state of Ethereum itself, then what types of places can then be made that represent a material to be traded, where then when it is figured out what aspects of control will become out of control, for when it is known enough to be what it is, then one can't know it, for then one knows what they can't know, otherwise what they have to give isn't what it is. All right, so for my initial investment in cryptocurrencies, thanks to my crypto consultant, Pepe Le Pew, bought $100 worth of crypto, which was 0.01 Bitcoin on Coinbase. So here you can see the flowchart of the crypto to the dollar. And here you can see the amount of Bitcoin that I have, covering up some sensitive information with the oh so subtle advertisement to my YouTube channel. This website seemed to be one that was programmed with a friendly user interface by capable hands, and after navigating it for some time, I feel pretty comfortable with it in terms of its usability. Click on here to send Bitcoin to a wallet address. I'm still waiting, kind of like a check to go through at the bank. I can send approximately $4 right now. In a couple days, I'll send probably the full amount to my Electrum wallet. So anyways, here's Coinbase, and up to this point in time I have had no issues with anything. Gonna sign out here and then go somewhere else. And the wallet that I'm using for my physical storage is Electrum. And here is the website for Electrum, which is where I'll transfer my funds from Coinbase. And then Electrum itself is a pretty minimal graphical application. A lot of functionality, kind of without it becoming a tangled mess, like a lot of pretty things become, which is why a lot of the crypto stuff is kind of in a command line interface. It allows you to execute a lot of functions very easily and rapidly without your window becoming littered with too much to really allow yourself to traverse in a very functional way. But that being said, I like the aesthetics of Coinbase. And here's Cudo, which is what I'm using to mine cryptos with currently. Now, with this software, as of the making of this video, I have mined 188 plus 370, 558 Satoshis, which is like a speck of a coin. And to be able to transfer to my Electrum from Kudo, I have to reach 200,000 Satoshis. So it'll take me about a year at this pace if I run the mining software at the rate that I ran it at today. So anyways,